Hi, my name is Beetle, and this figure is absolutely horrendous. Hello everyone, welcome to or back to my channel, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Transformers 1 Takara Optimus Prime. And I want to start this review off by saying this figure looks great in robot mode and in vehicle mode. He has great paint overall, the gray works really well, and overall this robot mode looks fantastic, especially compared to the Studio Series version, which will be compared later on. To start this one off, I do want to take a look at the accessories, the matrix, and the axe that Prime comes with. And of course, you can put the matrix into Prime's chest, and it's actually a pretty clever opening mechanism for his chest, something that I really haven't seen before for a Optimus Prime figure, and I think it works really well. You have to put the bottom after the top in though, which I didn't do the first time when I recorded this. And obviously his other accessory, his axe, can plug into his arm, and it works there. Kind of. His arm doesn't really like to keep it held up all that much. It doesn't have too much weight, and neither does his wrist. His wrist really does not like to hold it straight. It just always kind of goes limp, which is just the slightest bit annoying, but I'll detail that more later on. Now, a gimmick this figure has to really set it over the edge of the Studio Series one is these little blasters that come out from his shoulders, and they look alright. I guess they're to simulate the flamethrowers he had in the movie, and you just kind of fold them in, and you have to hold them there while you push in his shoulder to put him back. And the last gimmick of this figure is his face swapping gimmick. You have to lift up on his face, and you can spin his face around to reveal the Orion Pax face, or the Optimus Prime face. And just overall, both these faces look really good, but it can be a little bit annoying when it comes to the stability of the face, but I'll show you that later on. Overall, this figure is solid except for his grip on his axe. That tends to fall off quite a bit. And as you can see here, I'm kind of showing the backpack could be a possible issue, and it was for mine before, but it's gotten better as time has gone on, so there's that. Poseability wise, his head is on a ball joint. He can't look up very far, and this is where the big issue with his head comes in. It kind of turns into a chomping mechanism more than the face changing gimmick. But here you can see in action the ball joint at the head. It doesn't move left to right very much. He can kind of go back, but that's more for transformation, and his face detaches. It's annoying. It doesn't really plug in very well at all, but he can look down a little bit, and he can look up technically really far. His arms do move out, although not very well. Again, when you put the axe into his hand, it just, I mean, like that all the way up, it's fine, but you can see it slowly going down, and his hand is not fully gripping the axe, unfortunately. And there you can see it even better, that his arm just isn't very stable with the axe on it. And you have the 90-degree bend at the elbow. You have it in both directions. The backwards one is more for the transformation, but you do have that. There's also a bicep swivel that is very annoying. The other aspects of this figure that got annoying to me, I can kind of push by, but this one, you can see I am not attempting to rip off his arm. It's just coming off if I rotate it that direction, and there you can see it stays solid, which makes no sense to me, and then he falls over. But then he does have a wrist swivel. His fingers can open and close. All of them are on one hinge joint. And previously mentioned, his wrist can move down. You technically do get an ab crunch with this figure, but not really. It's another one more for the transformation, and you can't really do any poses with it, so just keep it plugged in. He also has a waist swivel. He does have outward movement at the leg, a ratcheted forward and backwards kick, and you can see that his legs are kind of loose despite the ratchets. He does have a thigh swivel, a just over 90-degree bend at the knee, and a pretty pathetic ankle pivot. And I wanted to point these out because these were kind of an issue with me while I was handling the figure. His feet are kind of small and he is very top heavy, so he does tend to like to just kind of collapse backwards, which can get pretty annoying. So overall, as surprising as it might seem, I don't hate this figure. The quality control issues are just that, quality control. Although I have seen that they're kind of like mass spread issues, as I've seen reviews online that actually made me stop from ordering this online, and when I found it at GameStop, I just said screw it and bought it. Alright, and starting off the comparisons, we have the Studio Series one versus this Takara one, and to start off, I do like the Takara one's look and colors a lot better. I like the sleekness of it, I like the gray that they use rather than the kind of brownish color that they used for the Studio Series one. The Studio Series one has a bit more of a sleek back profile, or side profile I should say, but both of these figures are great in their own ways, and I genuinely think that when it comes to poseability, the Studio Series one is better, and when it comes to solidity, except for that little crotch piece, that piece gets annoying. So starting off, we have the Transformers 1 Megatron for the other comparisons, and the next one is going to be the Rise of the Beast Prime, which I didn't record the vehicle mode for, apparently, comparing them. And here we have the SS-86 Prime, so you can see he's a bit bigger than a Commander class or a Leader class, but he isn't the same size as a Masterpiece style figure like Light of Peace. And here we have his Cybertronian truck mode, and it looks pretty good, I can't lie. And ignore the fact that it's not centered on my spinning thing. It's kind of bothering me now that I'm looking back at it. But it does look very good. You can see a lot of good paint on it, although there is one problem I do have with it, and that's the fact that the bottom part of the grill is just not painted at all. It's a really jarring difference between that and the actual painted parts. And bringing the axe back in, you have quite a few places you can stick it. On the vehicle mode, you've got 2 pegs on the top of the truck that it can fit into, so you can kind of just have it chilling out up top, or you can kind of just put it into the trailer hitch, or what I'm assuming is supposed to be a trailer hitch. You can also just kind of stick it to the side of the truck, right where I'm putting it there. And the final place you can store it on technically is on the side of the smokestack, but I don't see why you would really want to do that. And for the first time ever, here's the roll test, and he actually does roll pretty well. He rolls across And now for comparisons, here he is with the Studio Series, and here you can see the big difference. This one's truck mode is a lot better than the Studio Series. I also mistransformed it. I don't know how I keep doing this, but I do the correct step in the transformation sequence. Anyway, here he is with Megatron. So you can just see how much bigger this figure is than a deluxe. It is actually pretty big. And then here he is with the Studio Series Prime, and he's even bigger than this guy by a pretty substantial margin too, which is kind of crazy considering their robot modes weren't too different. And here he is with Light of Peace, and Light of Peace obviously is bigger than he is. That is going to be my next review, by the way. Stay tuned. So overall, at the end of the day, this figure, again, it's not complete shit, but when you factor in that it was $90, and if you are in the United States or anywhere that you would need to import it from Japan, it's gonna cost you a lot more than it really is worth. So I can't say I recommend this figure unless you really want this over the Studio Series. I'd just recommend that one. It's cheaper, a lot easier to get, and overall, in my opinion, a lot more fun to mess around with and especially pose. Now, with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed, feel free to like and subscribe, and Light of Peace will be getting reviewed at some point, hopefully in the next week. It'll probably be out in all reality by the 15th of next month. That's going to be my deadline for it. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.